Good afternoon. Welcome to The Pulse with me, Daniel Daze. In our headlines, Ghana is named on the World Bank's HIPC list. What does this mean in terms of debt sustainability? We have more on this story coming up. Electoral Commission reveals some 30,000 people will be unable to vote in this year's election. We tell you why. And 500 journalists covering the December polls will have access to 20 million Ghana cedi insurance package in terms of injury, in case of injuries or even death. There's more coming up in the next 60 minutes. Welcome. Live online and on Facebook. Let's begin with the running mate to the NDC's flag bearer, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, who has received an overwhelming welcome into the Volta region at Japon within the North Tone constituency. She begins a 3-day tour of the region.
Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman and her entourage were ushered to the Japon township with hundreds of party supporters, including Okada riders and residents clad in NDC colors, singing and jubilating. Hundreds of women lined up on the major streets of Japon, as well as a screening center to welcome the running mate. Speaking at a free health screening ceremony at Japon Textile Company, where over 200 women have been screened for breast cancer, Professor Opoku-Agyeman assured the people of prioritizing free primary health care and also establish a cancer and kidney fund to help the vulnerable.
Doctors, students, pressmen, and I'm very happy to know that you are all availing yourselves for this test. Sometimes it is just good that we know, even if it doesn't make us happy. The doctors will normally say, oh, if you came early. So that is why this program is important. So I want to thank you very, very much for being here. And I want to urge that even though we have 1 month for breast cancer awareness, whether October is here or not, we do the examinations on our own, as has been taught us, and that we report whatever we think has been unusual with our bodies. And you know that in our manifesto, we know the care and the cost involved, and also the fear that it brings and how it disrupts family life. And that is why in our manifesto, we have put in a cancer and kidney fund to be able to support those who are not in the position to take care of bills and so on. Sometimes the cost alone creates fear in the person, and we know the troubles that come with.
She has also been urging voters to step out in their numbers to vote. She says they should not feel intimidated in stepping out to cast their ballot.
So that is why we need all of you to come on board. All of you to do whatever you can. Don't let anybody intimidate you. We've come too far. We know our history. And our history doesn't begin with independence. We know who we are. And we know who we want to become. And we know the kind of country we want to live for our children and our grandchildren. So I just want to say thank you very much. For God. This is our number. You know that.
Professor Opoku-Agyeman is expected to tour Ho and Ho West constituencies, where she will engage members of the Volta Regional House of Chiefs, attend a Deba with residents, and also meet with teacher unions.
They are reflected in our manifesto. Everybody is reflected in our manifesto. Whether you are an Okada rider, you are reflected in our manifesto. If you... Yes, because you also matter. Okay? If you are a farmer, you reflect in our manifesto. If you are a fisherman, you reflect in our manifesto. If you are a trader, no matter how big, if your business is small, that's not what matters.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for North Tong Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa is demanding immediate release of residents of his constituency, including a pregnant woman who he says were wrongfully arrested during the secessionist riots in the district.
Mercenaries, secessionists, invaders, terrorists, whoever they are. As our chiefs have said, we love our peace and we are part of Ghana. So never again, Maga Jokpo. But they will carry out what they did. And then in the aftermath, deploy all these troops, soldiers, police, and look at the stress. Look at the stress. People cannot go about their.
Professor Jenano Pukwajiman has been installed Mama Yinungo of North Tong. Ivy Setoji's report for Joy News.
Ivy has joined us on the line, and well, she is on the ground. Ivy, tell us, what more has the running mate been saying?
Well, basically, the running mate has been asking the people of the voter region, especially women, to massively vote for President John Mahama so that she can become the vice president and bring forces to the development projects to women. So basically, the NDC has done so much for the people of the voter region, and so the mistakes of the past, that's 2016, must not be repeated this year. So the people of the voter region must do everything possible to bring the NDC back so that they also need peace, and that only the NDC that can bring peace to them. And so she's asking them to vote so that they can have all these things she spoke about.
Now, Ivy, she seems to have focused her first day of campaigning in the Volta region to the North Tong constituency. Where else will she be visiting in the region? Do we know?
So currently, she's meeting with the chiefs in that's the Volta Regional House of Chiefs. That is what is currently ongoing. From here, so she'll be meeting teacher unions at the Nat Hall, and then she continues tomorrow to the Ketu South and Ketu North, Keta and North districts.
Okay, now, Ivy, the Volta region is known to be the World Bank of the NDC. I caught a glimpse on one of the banners there, Agenda 98. Is that 98%?
Yeah, so she and the MP, Black Okudzeto, are asking for 98% of the on North Tong for now. That's what Ablakwa said. In the voter region as well. So that is what they are working around.
I'm sorry. We didn't catch all that you said, Ivy. Were you saying that Agenda 98% is limited to North?
Yeah, so the 98 spoke about was
right. Apologies. We are unable to hear Ivy Setoji so clearly, and so we'll re-establish the connection with her and then finish off that conversation on Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman's tour of the Greater Accra region. We will stay on the campaign trail because President Akufo-Addo is commissioning 100 intercity STC buses belonging to the state transport company. Well, he commissioned them earlier today at the start of his 3-day tour of the Greater Accra region. Well, the third day of his tour, I should say. The buses cost some $13 million, and they're part of measures to retool the state transporter. MD of STC, Nana Komia, says the border closure has cost his company 50% of its revenue. Elton Brobe is with the president, and he joins us live. Elton, when we spoke earlier in the day, you told us that the president was entering Abosio Kind to speak with the traders and artisans. What can you report from there, Elton?
Currently, I'm coming to you live from the Jamestown, where the president is just about addressing a member of the Ghana Traditional Authority. They are here in their numbers. And this particular program is very significant because of probably the disturbances we witnessed over the weekend between supporters of the NDC and the MPP. We'll get to this particular subject very shortly. But since you asked about what happened at Obusi, I can tell you that it was part of the working visit to the spare parts dealers. President Akufo-Addo himself was quite clear that he couldn't undertake a tour of the Greater Accra region without touching base with Obusi. So first, he had a meeting with their leadership in their office, after which he went on the streets to address hundreds of traders who came to listen to him. The Obusi spare parts dealers have some demands of the president. First, they want a police post within the enclave, and also a health post. And then thirdly, they also want the government to, if possible, grant them access to an abandoned park, bare land, which they can use to park their vehicles whilst they work. But they were grateful to the president for suspending the custom amendment bill, which would have, banned the importation of salvage vehicles and also overage vehicles. So these were their demands and commendations to the president. President Akufo-Addo promised to look into their demands, first to see the possibility of the establishment of a police post and also a chips compound. And then secondly, we'll talk to the relevant authorities if the bare land they mentioned could be allocated to them so that they can park their vehicles. And then from Obusi, spare parts dealers, there was a drive through Jamestown, and then we ended up at the Jamestown Fishing Harbour, which is ongoing. It's under construction, 70% complete. The contractors say that they are hoping that they'll get their job and everything done by the end of next year. The whole project is costing government of Ghana $40 million, and it's funding coming from the Chinese government. When it is done, it will have a fishing harbour and a coastal. And then the catch here is that the fisher folks will have a place to store their catch, and then they can get it anytime they want. It will not go bad, and then they can improve their livelihood. Where we are now is the Jamestown, Garber grounds. The pictures you are seeing behind me, the main days where President Akufo-Addo and his entourage are seated, and also opposite them is a representative from the Ghana Traditional Council. The program just got underway. We've gone past the exchange of pleasantries. We are not getting to the speeches. Now, my expectation, what I expect to hear is the President Akufo-Addo, if possible, talk about the disturbances over the weekend and the assurance going forward. But we are here to hear the MPP parliamentary candidate for this area, Nilante Banaman, is here. Remember that the last time the MPP won this seat was in 2000. Since then, the NDC has held on to it. Nilante Banaman is confident that he will be able to unseat Nilante Vanderpoel in the upcoming election. But the disturbances over the weekend is giving cause for concern. And we are all here. We are waiting to hear the words from the traditional authorities and then the president. And then we'll move into the other stops ahead of us.
Elton, let me leave you to pay attention to those speeches, because definitely we want to know what will be said, especially about what happened over the weekend. Thank you very much, Elton Brobe. He's our presidential correspondent coming to us from Jamestown. This is still your election headquarters, and 500 accredited journalists stand to benefit from a 20 million insurance package in the event of an injury, disability, or even death in the line of duty during the coverage of the December polls. The State Insurance Company Limited has decided to bear the cost of hospital bills and even provide a monthly stipend to journalists for 12 months if they are incapacitated. Speaking to JoyNews, a general manager of operations at SIC Faris Atriki says the package is as a result of the risks journalists encounter during the polls.
People are beaten, sometimes they lose their working clothes, sometimes they sustain injuries. You may even have death. And though we cannot perfectly prevent these things, we can prepare. So we felt we should help the Ghana Journalists Association to prepare for the unexpected. And so we in SIC thought through and said we will offer a 20 million Ghana cedis insurance package for 500 members accredited, to cover the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections in Ghana. Now this 20,000 for 500, you see, if you do the arithmetic, you have about 40,000 Ghana cedis per person. So we're giving this 40,000 for a death cover, 40,000 if an injury is sustained that results in permanent disability, or the one is unable to work for more than a year. Now, if it results in a kind of incapacitation and the person is able to work only after a year, i.e. if he is incapacitated for a period not exceeding 12 months, we'll be paying an amount of 3,300 Ghana cedi each month. This is notwithstanding the salary that the journalists will be taking from the employer.
Now, President of the Ghana Journalists Association, Dr. Roland Afil-Moni, welcomed the gesture, indicating it will encourage journalists to do their work without fear or favor.
Indeed, nothing can be more rational and nationalistic than this gesture, which is unprecedented in history and unparalleled in substance. Election is the centerpiece of democracy, and democracy is impossible without the media. 7 times on the bounce, Ghana, with the pivotal role of the media, has conducted 7 successful elections with 2 alternations of power. The experts take this as a pass mark for democratic consolidation. However, there should be no room for complacency.
Now, as Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta prepares to appear before Parliament tomorrow with the 2021 first quarter budget statement, Minority Leader Harun Idrisu is urging him to be candid with Ghanaians and reveal the true state of the economy. The minister will present to the House for approval the expenditure in advance of appropriation covering January to March 2021 tomorrow. Mr. Idrisu says the economy is in bad shape and only a future NDC government can fix it.
Expect that Ghana's fiscal deficit will not be less than 15% of GDP, and that is very worrying into the future.
Is there evidence the NDC will be able to turn this around beyond 2021? If
a very challenging economy, we need to get the country united behind the elected candidate. We are very optimistic of victory, both at parliamentary and presidential elections.
What's your own projection of that with parliamentary, for example?
Oh, I expect 36 to 47 new seats.
In addition to
you
the
can mark my words on 8 December.
5 already.
I say with 36 to 47 is our target, and I think that that's good enough.
That will take you to a very slim majority. That will take you to a very slim majority, around 100, a little over 130 plus.
Parliament is likely to be very, very close in terms of margins. There would be a slim majority in Parliament, but we're optimistic that it will be an NDC majority.
With their parliamentary candidates, as you've claimed, inaugurating projects and taking credit for developmental projects, taking credit for. Wouldn't that negatively impact the chances of you NDC actually annexing a majority going forward?
Another
especially when you are predicting will be slim.
Many of the state-owned enterprise and institutions have recruited more than they require, so productivity have been thrown to the dogs, and some of the institutions cannot even pay their staff as regularly as they used to do. We've seen instances where even parliamentary candidates are commissioning projects and are supervising projects. Abuse of state authority, abuse of state resources and incumbency, particularly under the development authorities, and will scrutinize thoroughly the expenditure of the development authorities from now until early next year. And it will be revealing for you to see a parliamentary candidate go there and say that I'm giving you a school block and commission it. Under what authority? Who is a parliamentary candidate? At least if you say a member of parliament or a district chief executive, that is understandable.
Live on The Pulse with me, Daniel Dazi. Now, when we come back, Information Minister Kojo Ponkura is debunking claims that Ghana is on the World Bank's hit-pick list. We'll be back with more. Welcome back to The Pulse. Thank you very much for staying with us. We take you back to Parliament because Ken Ofori-Atta, Finance Minister, is preparing to appear before the House tomorrow with the 2021 first quarter budget statements. We've already heard from Haruna Idrisu, Minority Leader, who is predicting that Ghana will have a fiscal deficit of 15% by early next year. And he believes the NDC is the only party that can reverse such a trend next year if voted into power. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo goes to Parliament for us, and he's joined us via Zoom with some details. First of all, Joe, help us understand. The Finance Minister will be presenting a budget that will cover only 3 months next year. Why?
Correct. So a few years ago, there was the amendment to the Public Financial Management Act, which then brought in a requirement that says for any year, the budget for that year that's coming should be read the year before. So, for example, the 2020 budget, which is currently being implemented, is a budget statement that came to Parliament late last year. That's November 2019. So it's also expected that all other things being equal, the budget for the year 2021 should have been read in November 2020, but for the fact that next year is an election year. So the requirements are that in a year that's an election year, because no one is able to predict how things will pan out by the time the election cycle is done, then the finance minister in a year that's an election year would only have to present the budget covering the first quarter of the year that follows. So January, February, March, and then when the next finance minister takes over, whether himself, Ken Ofori-Atta, or any other finance minister with the NPP, or even an NDC finance minister, then he will come back to the House sometime in February to present a full budget for the rest of the year, covering April up until the end of the year. So yes, that will be happening tomorrow, God willing, hopefully around 10 a.m. when Ofori-Atta will be presenting the budget statement.
Right. And so, Joe, just out of curiosity, and you have covered Parliament for quite a while, if a new government should come to power, will they be able to change any of the plans that have been put in place, at least for the first 3 months, by this finance minister?
Precisely. So, except that if he would want to do that, he has to work within the ceiling in terms of the amount that's approved for that first quarter. So, assuming that for the first quarter of next year, there is a budget approval for, let's say, 20 billion Ghana cedis for the government to spend, the next finance minister can make alterations as far as the expenditure are concerned for that first quarter, but it must remain within the 20 billion Ghana cedis that the Parliament would have approved the preceding year without exceeding that. Apart from the figure that you would have to be spending by, he can go ahead and make the necessary alterations.
Now, I heard you interview the Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu there, where he made an interesting prediction that we will see a budget deficit of 15%. Have we seen a response to this from the majority, especially what he says about the true state of the economy?
So those on the majority side, for example, have been commenting ahead of the budget reading for the first quarter next year, which is coming up tomorrow. For example, the Deputy Minister for Agriculture, Kennedy Osei-Nyaako, has been interacting with the media here in Parliament, and he's been touting the various achievements of the NPP administration as far as the economy is concerned, insisting that revenue generation has gone up, dealing with debt situation is far better than within the NDC administration, insisting that the agriculture sector, for example, is seeing massive growth as a result of targeted investment in that sector. And for those on the majority side, is just a projection of the exciting things they hope to do more than they've done already that the finance minister will be presenting tomorrow.
Right, and the minority disagrees faithfully, I'm sure.
Exactly. So we can expect, just as the debates have played out over the last few years, a statement which would see the majority hailing by the time it's done and the minority criticizing most likely.
Now, the last time the president came to the House, the minority staged the walkout. Are we getting any indication as to the action of the minority tomorrow?
First of all, tomorrow is likely to be a very interesting day, particularly because of the kinds of numbers we have seen on the floor of the House as far as attendance by members of parliament is concerned. So, for example, this morning when sitting began, sometime around 11 o'clock, 11:30, there were just 11 members of parliament on the floor. The figure rose along the line, but they didn't hit anywhere beyond 30, even as the House proceeded with business. So the first thing we can expect tomorrow, most likely, although chances are that a lot more MPs will seek to show up, particularly for this work that the finance minister will be doing, is that we won't have enough numbers on the floor because everyone is out there campaigning, hoping to retain their seats going into the next election. We don't get any indication that the minority may want to boycott the process or anything of that sort. The hint we get is that they would stay in there, listen to the finance minister, and subsequently, the House would have to debate the presentation that the finance minister will do, and subsequently go ahead and get the House to approve it. So we gather that they would want to stay in this all the way through, listen to him, go ahead with the debate in the days ahead. And we know the House is going on a break sometime the 6th of November. So they'll go ahead and debate and await for the necessary approval to be done.
Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, thank you very much for those updates and especially that education at the very beginning. Let's stay with what government is doing because the Information Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah has debunked claims that Ghana has once again been ranked in the category of highly indebted and poor countries, HIPC. As you know, the HIPC was a group of 39 developing countries with high levels of poverty and debt overhang who qualified for financial assistance from the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and other multilateral, bilateral, and commercial creditors between 1996 and 2001. It was designed to ensure the reduction in the debt levels of poor and indebted countries. Now, according to Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, the numerous publications making rounds on social media purporting that the country has returned to HIPC is fake news.
Focus heavily on the coastal regions plus the northern region, and we'll have an opportunity to speak to some of the major interventions that have been going on in these regions in the last 3.5 years. Before we commence these presentations, however, there is one quick matter that I need to deal with. If you have followed media discussions in the last 24 hours, you will notice a new trend showing up. There are suggestions being spread, particularly on social media, that Ghana has been declared HIPC again. I'm sure you would have noticed that a lot of persons are sharing material on social media that whether the IMF or the World Bank has declared Ghana HIPC or has listed Ghana as one of the HIPC countries. And it is a suggestion that the economy is not in as good a shape as we claim it is. For the avoidance of doubt, and because we have also mentioned that we are aware that some persons in the weeks ahead of the election will seek to spread a lot of false information and fake news, it is important to quickly respond to it right here and right now.
That was Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, Information Minister. Now, 9 civil society organizations have canvassed 90 pages worth of legal arguments at the Supreme Court, seeking to have the Auditor General Daniel Domelevo return to work. He's currently on a 167-day leave imposed by the presidency. The CSOs, including the Ghana Center for Democratic Development and Ghana Integrity Initiative, say the move by the presidency unlawfully interferes with the independence of the Office of Auditor General. This is the second case filed against government on this matter, and Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Linda Ofoyekwafo, says they decided to sue government after the presidency opted not to rescind the leave directive. She spoke to my colleague, Ernest Menu, on News Desk.
transparency, integrity, and all those, also think that we have a right to go to court. And that is what we have done. We actually mentioned earlier that we are going to do so. If you remember rightly, when this matter came up, we held a big press conference in the country, and we were hoping that the president will rescind his decision. That didn't happen. The next step, obviously, was for us to take a decision on what to do next, and we decided to go to court and seek some interpretation so far as the matter is concerned.
As civil society, one thing that you do a lot is to engage. I'm wondering what your engagement with the presidency and with the people that matter as far as this issue is concerned, what that has been, and if the outcome of that engagement is what has led you to court now.
We didn't get an opportunity to have a direct engagement, as in having been invited to the Flagstaff House and have a meeting directly with the president. But what happened was for us to organize a big press conference. Then I think the president then was off for some time because of COVID-19 related issues. And then when he came back, he responded and said that he thinks that the decision the government has taken is in the interest of the country, and he was not going to rescind. But then also, with our belief that we have some challenges to the decision that have been taken, we decided to go to court to seek interpretation. First and foremost, it's very important for us to state clearly that we are not doing this because of a particular individual. We are doing this to ensure that even now and in the future, independent state organizations will not have some sort of interference as far as their work is concerned. We need them to have the Electoral Commission, we have the SHRAC, we have many of them, OSC and all those, they are independent state organizations. When such interference starts coming, and we believe that it is not in line with what the Constitution provides, then obviously if we don't take any action, in future, we will have ourselves to be blamed. So then we have a court that is ready to listen to our case because we think we have a good case. We have gone to court, and we have good lawyers who take this matter up at the right time.
Live on the Pulse. Now, the Upper West coordinator of the Nation Builders Corps, NAPCO, Umar Nuhu, has stated that the 2-year existence of the Nation Builders Corps has largely been successful. He disclosed that out of the 3,040 personnel posted to the region, about 300 of them have now moved on and have acquired permanent jobs. Umar Nuhu made the disclosure at the climax of the 2nd anniversary celebration of NAPCO in Wa. JoyNews Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
The personnel of the Nations Builders Corps first converged at the Nasiriki Bombi II Park before strolling into town, embarking on the health walk amid music from brass band. After creating the awareness of the 2-year existence of NAPCO on some principal streets in Wa, the personnel moved to the Wa Municipal Market and were joined by some youth groups affiliated to the MPP to clean the market. Wa Mayor Isako Tairo Mumin, whose outfit has led a crusade to ensure that the water is clean, was also present.
We are creating an awareness, apart from the fact that we are letting people to see how people are benefiting from that program. We also want to create awareness to the people that uses this market in other places. But today we've decided that we try to move into areas that are very difficult to clean. So that brought us today into the Wa Municipal Market, including other hard-hit areas in terms of what you call it, sanitation.
The Upper West region has 3,040 personnel on NAPCO initiated by the government to reduce graduate unemployment. Upper West Regional Coordinator of NAPCO, Umar Nuhu, says the program to a large extent has been successful.
Of course, the maternity block is where life begins. The transition to life begins at the maternity block. All of us were once here, our mothers were delivered either here or a facility like this, even if it is a TBA. But what is important is that we want to come and help in the sanitation of this block. We want to ensure that the children that are brought forth come into a clean environment so that they can grow and help in building the nation as we are doing today.
So the NAPCO personnel rounded up the day's activities at the maternity ward of the Wa Municipal Hospital, where they presented them with detergents, powdered and liquid soaps, masks and nose masks, all valued at 3,000 Ghana cedis.
As to the number that has gotten permanent jobs, as we speak, I cannot tell, because even today somebody might get a job and leave. And if the person doesn't come to report, I will not be able to give you those statistics. But as of the last time we did our statistics, we realized that over 300 of our trainees have already gotten permanent jobs and they have exited the program. Some got the jobs and they were still dilly-dallying with the exiting. But we were able to know, and then we gave instructions to our head office to exit them.
An administrator at the one municipal hospital, Eric Fanomadakura, received the items on behalf of the hospital.
Because of the COVID, we know how challenged we are as a management to procure most of these things to use to provide services. Particularly in healthcare delivery, the preventive aspect is always more key. And we have all manner of clients coming to visit the facility. And so I just want to say that these things will be put to good use.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam.
So live on The Pulse. Let's talk about cashew farming now. The farmers have expressed their unhappiness with the new pricing scheme proposed by Ghana's Tree Crop Development Authority, TCDA. They blame the Ghana Cashew Council, which represents cashew growers on the TCDA, for wanting to dictate the prices of cashew with the introduction of a new pricing regime that will set an upper limit for cashew prices. Let's get more from them. Nana Amiel Menu and Jimmy Emmanuel are cashew farmers and buyers. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us. So, Jimmy, since you're sitting closer to me, help us understand. What do you mean by they are setting a ceiling?
You know, I'm a cashew exporter. So what government has done, we are not against it. But what we are saying, the exporters, what we are saying is that we are bringing our money to come and buy and send it. So whatever decision they will take, they have been informed us. We should be involved. And which all this that is going on, he doesn't know anything about it. The only thing we heard that they are from so and one of our
the Tree Crop Development Authority,
which cashew is included.
Okay.
And one of our association member, that is a board member of a Cashew Traders Association. He is one of the board member, and he is coming to determine the price for us. And we say, wow, that is, I don't think it's not acceptable, because we are bringing our money. So if the price may be determined, you have to inform us, for us to be involved. And if maybe we have some grievances, we can put before them, so that everything is okay. But without that, you just hear they have inaugurated some board, and also later, now we learn that they are making another election, underground election, that we are electing regional executive.
Regional executives for what?
For the Cashew Association, which, you know, is not acceptable.
Okay. Nana, what role do you play? Are you also an exporter or you're a farmer?
Thank you. I'm a member of Peasant Farmers Association. I'm the National Vice President of Peasant Farmers Association. In fact, what my brother is saying, I'm also a farmer.
Okay.
Even I'm an award winner. So when these people comes, those buyers from India, they used to determine price for the cashew farmers and then the local buyers.
Okay.
Which we were not happy about that one.
Okay.
So he decided to call upon Ghana government to form association of cashew board. In fact, we are not against cashew board. We are 100% behind the government. But the way this some people are doing.
So what are they doing?
On the grassroots. That is why we are here now. In fact, we don't know anything. The cashew board has been formed already, but all of a sudden we heard that some of the people, our people, they are forming regional executives, which is not is unfair to us because they didn't inform us, and none of the Ghana farmers-based organizations are involved.
Is there an existing Cashew Farmers Association? Was there already a Cashew Farmers Association?
Yes.
Before these regional associations, which you say were being formed in secret, were formed. You already had your association. So does that association have regional executives?
No.
It exists on the national level.
That association was not recognized. Yes, if I have my purchasing class, we can form an association. They are buying for me. When something happens, then we go on bulk. It happens like maybe somebody may get funeral, then we just go. That is the association.
Okay, so it's not very formalized.
It's not formal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But why, if your association is not very formalized yet, why don't you join the new association so that it can represent you? What's wrong with what is happening
The
now?
new association, the association was there before. We were having cashew association, like let's say, Ghana, we have 2 regions. That's Bono East and Bono.
Where we get cashew.
Where we get cashew currently. Even for the past up to now. And then we have 2 cashew associations, one at Bono East and then this in Bono region. And this association was there before. Whether it's organized or it's not organized, we will respect it. I think you hear me well. We respect it. So
but Nana here says that it's not a very...
That is why I'm saying whether we respect it or we don't respect it, it's organized, whatever it is, we respect it. So we do everything according to. We normally go for meetings, taking decisions, whatever goes on well for us. But this one, no, the one that they want to form right now, we don't know anything about it. And then we hear, as exporters, we hear that President has inaugurated some 3 crop development authority, which comprise about 6 tree crops,
including cashew.
So the cashew, we have members of the cashew. It's not cashew board. We have members of cashew. That is traders, Cashew Traders Association, and then buyers, exporters, and then the farmers. Which everything concerning cashew, these 3 people have to meet before we can proceed. And suddenly, when this thing happened, we only heard that the Traders Association, one of that, he made himself as a president. He represents all the association. Without
all the 3 stakeholders. The traders are representing the 3 stakeholders. Okay.
So, and then another guy, Chief Adams, they say he also represents the farmers. Fine. And then later, we got to know that there is another meeting, underground meeting. So we have cashew group, which normally anything we put on the group. So I asked them, when did this thing happen? When did this thing form? Which people attend this meeting?
Okay, so
I think you understand.
I get it. The heart of the matter is that you were not involved.
Yes.
In all of this.
Yes.
Nana, have you spoken to government? Have you made official representation to this authority about your lack of involvement?
Okay. In fact, they didn't involve us. But you people, when you talk, people used to hear. That's why we are here now. We want to pass through the media so that government will hear what we are also saying. Because now, if I'm here in Accra, I can't go and seek for this thing and go to this place, Jubilee House. I can't go to Jubilee House and say anything unless I pass through this channel.
But why didn't we officially write to the Tree Crop Development Authority or the Ministry of Agriculture to say that, look, the Peasant Farmers Association and a number of buyers have not been involved in this? Jimmy, why didn't we do this?
Okay, tree crops. You have what we are talking about now is different from a tree crops association, because we are now talking about cashew.
But the cashew exists, and if you give me just a moment, sorry.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I hope you get my question.
Yeah,
cashew exists under Tree Crops Development Authority now. You have a challenge with how things are being handled there.
Yes.
Why did we not write a letter to them or go to the Ministry of Agri to seek audience so that your issues can be resolved before coming to the media?
No.
Just a moment, I will come to you. I just want to hear from you.
As you said, but these Tree Crops Development Authority, the members, by all means, they may know that before this association will be formed, there will be Exporters Association and then Traders Association. That is why they got a trader to represent them. But they didn't inform them, anybody. So what we are saying, for someone to represent the whole cashew association, like as a traders, this thing, to represent and then determine price for us, it is not going to work. And it is not going to be good for us. They're supposed to talk and help the farmers so that determine price for us, because I'm bringing my money from outside. So if you determine a price for me, and then if I see that it's not going to work with me, I'll take my money, go.
So since you started this agitation, Nana, have you heard from authorities? Have authorities reached out to you?
No. You didn't see it. That's why I said we have so many farmer-based organizations, but none of them have heard it.
Okay.
And what we are saying is that now it's getting to the time of the season is coming. By December, we shall start new crop. So if we delay our time, things will go wrong for us. That's why we said we are passing through you. Let people, government here, that what is going on now. Because some of these people who have formed cashew association, they have their own foreigners who used to come here and buy. And the cashew price determined by those people. When the people come and they go and determine price for us, what will we do?
Okay, Nana, I guess I'll give 30 seconds to Jimmy for your final words before you wrap up.
Please, you know, the reason why we are saying so, this thing, some happened to Tanzania last year. The government determined to take the cashew and make the price. When the government announced the price, even it was the military who went in and bought the cashew. So the buyers, exporters, they bring their money. So what they told the government that we cannot buy at a minute. So they went back. You understand? So the thing was there until November last year, November, December, when the government see that, the thing is not going well, they say they should come and buy it. So when they came in, then they reduced the price of this thing, Ghana. That was why Ghana price went down to 2 cedi, 50%, 2 cedi, 80%. That one, what does it mean? We are cheating the farmers. That is why we say the government should give us that break and help the farmers determine whatever it is. But the price, as we are doing past, we can do it. Because they are coming to inaugurate this thing, the secret election that I say they are now doing, the regional one. They are coming to inaugurate 15th November. This is just 15th November. So if it's passed out.
So we'll follow the issue. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Nana Ameamenu and Jimmy Emmanuel. Let's move to other stories. And there was an acute water shortage in the West Mamprusi municipal capital, Wale, following the delay in completion of a water supply project started over 3 years ago by the NPP administration. The situation has compelled residents of the Northeast region town to rely on tricycle operators to draw water from unwholesome sources, including hand-dug wells and small dams in nearby villages. Watch this.
The Wale Water Project was being constructed as part of a larger water supply initiative by the MPP government. through a loan facility from the World Bank to provide clean and safe drinking water for the people in and around the 3 major towns of Nalirgu, Gambaga, and Waliwali. The intervention was to provide 35,000 gallons of water daily to residents as a major part of measures to end perennial water shortages and improve sanitation in the Waliwali area. In spite of several delays, the project was said to have been completed in March this year. However, was rejected by the assembly members as shoddy work and unfaithful operation. The assembly members also reportedly blocked a handover ceremony. Since then, the project has degenerated to a white elephant as residents continue to go through unspeakable sufferings in order to access clean drinking water.
We actually have a tap, but it doesn't flow. It's not that they don't open taps, but we don't get water. It's like when they open, before the water gets to our side, they'll close it again.
Pipe them big. Don't me to share the dark pipe the man to Yanni, to Mumbingar Cool. Can it? No, a pipe my pool. Let them pull my the balance to the water while is there. The former one year do ma, the bump pumper, the between pan, and to the one, to walk how long one at the pan, the area one.
Area maza, July de Lomaza, Zabia Laco, Conong Mansanta, Conong Mazoya Pam, the Drua Laco Maz Pam. Was a deck Bizoza, Bazazulgan and a conjara, so to come up a sacred. The two and their help to go Maz.
Well, we don't have, enough wells there. And even in the dry season, the wells get dry. So we normally go to Banawa, fetch this water. Then we go back to Walwali and sell. That's what we normally do.
Every morning, women and children are seen combing around the town in search of water. Not only does this Herculean routine task contribute to the economic decline, it also affects the health and well-being of these women and children, who are traditionally obliged to ensure water is available in their respective homes. Members of the local assembly have responded with anguish, demanding sanctions against the water and sanitation agency in the region. At a special meeting organized by the House, some of the angry members repeated the allegations of shoddy works against the contractor and threatened to lead protests if the problem is not fixed immediately.
And the Waiwale water system was brought to bring about improvement in our lives in terms of sanitation and what have you. But unfortunately, it's like it has come to worsen our plight.
You can imagine if the people of Kukwa's go to date for over 2 years now, water could not even flow in some of my old people's taps. Where do I expect them, or how do you expect them, or when do you expect them to get water again? They are very reluctant on their job. And they think that the town has no man business. As for whatever thought that comes, can do whatever thought you want to go and go by. And this is the time again. So the people in there are not doing us any good. And I call on the total scrap of that particular office. The most painful aspect of it again is that when you go on that score, again, you realize again that this water free system water thing we are enjoying, while are cut off. Because we are enjoying the present free water system. And it's not anything about these people. These carry water people. They're the people of the coast. So we need to address all these issues.
When you look at the connecting fee, like for example, my community Wungu, how many of them can afford those fees to connect to their own houses?
If you want water, when they come, what they will do is that they will calculate by meters. And we know their calculation, 1 meter is 10 Ghana cedis. When they just do 1 meter is 10 Ghana cedis. You can imagine if you are maybe far away from the pipe up to 200 meters or 300 meters. How much are you going to pay? And what are they doing in our communities? We know our level in terms of finance.
Elias Sutanko reporting for JoyNews.
You're live on the pulse with me, Daniel Dazi. Now, visit accident centers and hospitals. Perhaps that will change how you drive and your attitude on the road as a road user. This is a call coming from the head of emergency medicine at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, as part of the National Road Safety Authority's Arrive Alive campaign, Dr. Maxwell Osei-Ampofo. Now, Dr. Osei-Ampofo's call follows increasing cases of life-threatening head injuries the facility continues to record.
Based on what we see here, the number of injuries are increasing. The trend is worrying. There's a worrying increasing trend of head injuries. There's a worrying increasing trend of disabilities from open fractures and then abdominal injuries from road traffic crashes. We will not say what they call accidents because we think that they are crashes. And I think that if we don't take care, these are going to overtake a lot of the diseases that has, that we know already. So we have a worrying increasing trend of road traffic accidents with head injuries and various disabilities, which we need to educate people. When we have a lot of these people are breadwinners, they are unable to work again, they are unable to do even their daily activities of living. They are not able to take care of themselves. They become a burden to society. They are also not able to contribute to the economy, because if you have a disability such that you cannot work, it means that now you can't contribute, you can't do work and pay taxes. It means that it decreases even your ability to contribute towards the economy of the country. So I think that in the long term, their lifestyle, it changes your life forever. You cannot work. Sometimes even the head injuries, you cannot comprehend. You lose your memory. So it is a very, very dangerous situation that we are getting ourselves into as far as the road traffic crashes are concerned. You know that people die in a certain order. When there's a road traffic crash, we call it ABCD. A means that airway challenges, breathing challenges, circulation challenges, disability challenges, and sometimes people die at the scene. So you don't even have the chance, based on what injury you get. For example, if you have a metal from a car, piercing to your chest, into your heart, you die immediately. Or if you have a very, big vessel, like a blood vessel that gets injured, you can bleed to death over there. And so we have all these, some people dying on the scene, and some people die immediately at the hospital. We call them the golden hour of trauma. I mean, if you're able to get you timelessly with the help of ambulances, you're able to save your life. But sometimes, even in the best of centers, based on your type of injury, open fractures, and there are some that we call polytrauma. It means that multiple areas of the body have been affected. You have a head injury, you have abdominal injury, you have fractures of the thigh, and all these combined makes the outcome, more favorable. So you have a very bad prognostic feature when you have multiple injuries coming together. And I think that we don't wish this for anybody, but I think that sometimes people have to walk through the hospital and see the kinds of injuries. I think it will inform the actions as road users when they are either walking by the roadside or driving or even dropping people off.
Now, they reaffirmed their bragging rights in the National Science and Maths quiz after winning the competition for a record 6th time this year. President Akufo-Addo has already crowned them the undisputed kings of NSMQ, but after they thrilled the nation with their scientific and mathematical supremacy, the Present boys got a treat of their lives last weekend when they cruised on the Volta Lake as part of their winning package. PSC Nana Safo was there.
You'll be a program, no? So, me se krumpona, me be friend me catch say, and win a cool into no. You'll be a me near that year cry, but if I have to put it there, and I just say, we'll meet you on her cry, just say, 1 minute we could meet me who may be around 3 dua. Just say I have to be there.
The tour by Adansi Travels was under a package dubbed Dam City Escape and was in collaboration with Primetime Limited, Dodi World and the Volta Hotel. The NSMQ winners were thrilled to be in Akwemufie, but that was only the beginning of a colorful 3-day experience. By the time they had gone through the Abri Gardens, felt the breeze of the Dodi cruise and conquered Ghana's highest mountain, Afajatu, amongst others, they had come to appreciate a new level of nature. Some facts came as a surprise.
From Equatorial Guinea back to Ghana here in those days was 6 weeks journey by sea. And also, due to low technology in those days, they were not having the aeroplane for the traveling. So if it was true that Tete Kwasi swallowed the cocoa beans, would he visit the washroom? It is never true that Tete Kwasi swallowed the cocoa beans before he brought it.
Others were a little scary.
Don't forget that we have snakes here, and then other animals that they are not likely to see. So just follow the rules. You don't stay alone.
And some even seemed familiar.
You guys are before zebras right now. I mean, that doesn't remind you of anything at all. Oh yeah. Oh, it does. Yes. Very good. Share that with us. Oh yeah, they are disco boys.
But the boys from Presec Legon enjoyed all of it, and they got to do so with some of their quiz mistresses who tested their fitness.
I said I was testing my bones to see how strong they are, to see that if all my biological systems are working well. And yeah, I think I proved myself right in a little over an hour, so I'm proud of myself.
I can't even speak.
Would you say this is far more difficult than asking questions on?
It doesn't even come into comparison. It's like 1,000.
I have conquered Afajato.
Oh, you have?
I have conquered Afajato, and I'm proud of myself. It wasn't easy. I haven't really exercised in a long while, so coming up here was arduous. I won't lie about it.
The new kings on the block could not hide their excitement when they spoke to JoyNews.
It's been an exciting experience. Yeah, as I said, from day one up to this time, the cruising was superb. Superb. We've enjoyed the cruising from.
Which one was the biggest highlight for you?
The live band was excellent.
We've had fun, gone places I haven't been to before, and educating in the sense that, especially the Akosombo, we taught how it works, how it operates, and even the Dodi Princes to how the operations come about.
Congratulations to the winning team once again. Now this is the world's tallest dancing fountain, sandwiched between the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa, and the world's biggest mall, the Dubai Mall. The Dubai Dancing Fountain has become one of the major attractions for tourists as it shoots water sprays so high it can be seen in many parts of the city, whilst dancing in harmony with music and powerful lights. Maxwell Agbagba joined some Ghanaians on their Dance Travels Dubai Icebreaker Tour Tuesday evening to witness the breathtaking performance.
Right here at the fountain area. Here, I see the Dubai Mall is here. We also have the Burj Khalifa just some meters away. Some minutes ago, we saw. I really do not have enough words to describe what we saw. The dancing fountain, great scenery here in Dubai. You saw quite a number of people, watching that. I have a man here with me, Richard. Yes, Richard has been working here for the past 2 years, and he's going to tell us more about the dancing, fountain and what we saw just some minutes ago.
Richard, what you just witnessed was the fountain show on the lake. Yeah, we call it the Burj Lake because it's close to the Burj Khalifa and the Burj Park. So what happens is that the show happens every 30 minutes, and there's a song that the water or the jets. Okay. Basically, there are robots that are dancing, all right, and it's shooting water through. We have the super shooters and the extreme shooters, all right, exactly. So every 30 minutes, it dances to a song. It can play Arabic song, it can play, any kind of song, and it's wonderful. People come here to watch it. It's a major attraction that gets people into the Dubai Mall, and everybody is excited to see it.
Okay, yeah. Great. I think another thing that we saw was the I'll come back to the fountain, but the Burj Khalifa, and the various lightings, in there, and sometimes you can see some writings on it and all of that. Can you tell us more about the various lightings on the Burj Khalifa and how sometimes you can see some writings and all of that?
Yeah. So the idea of the Burj Khalifa is not just a building, right? It's a statement.
Okay. First of all, it holds the record for the highest building, or the tallest building in the world. Okay, with over 858 meters tall. Right. And interesting thing is that from afar you think it's something tiny, but the closer you get to it, you realize that it's really, really huge.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it has a screen, it has LED lights, and it's almost a screen, right, that says anything to the world. So yeah, absolutely, it's very iconic. It's very iconic. Yeah.
Well, so usually, when do you have like some of these writings that I saw, on the Burj Khalifa? I think today what we witnessed was is it Imar?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So Imar is basically the developers of the Dubai Mall, the fountain and everything we see here. Yeah,
I think
it's a major
buildings here.
Yeah,
were
developed by Imar. Exactly. That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. So it's Emirati owned.
Okay.
Yes, and they are doing a good job here. So that's about it. As I said, the Burj Khalifa in itself, the idea is that everything. You asked me about the celebrations.
Yeah.
The idea is that every significant thing that has to be celebrated here in the world, the Burj Khalifa celebrates as well. So here, the Emiratis are saying that they are making a statement with one of the iconic buildings in the world, which is the Burj Khalifa. Not only is it tall, but it has a screen that speaks to the world. If it has to celebrate women, it does. If it has to celebrate other countries as well, it does. If it has to fight, currently we are fighting in Nigeria, to end SARS, exactly. And the Burj Khalifa is one of the iconic buildings that is used to celebrate these things because it is very, very iconic.
Wow, interesting. So how many floors? How many? And I hear already there's construction underway for a building that would topple, for want of a better word, the record that the Burj Khalifa has as the tallest building, in the world. Can you tell us more about that?
Right. So currently, Dubai is building the Dubai Creek Tower, which is going to be taller than the Burj Khalifa. Also very iconic. So works are underway for that also.
Definitely a memorable experience there at Dubai. Can't wait to have the guys back, and you can join Adansi Travels on the next adventure. My name is Daniel Dazi. Many thanks for joining us for this edition of The Pulse. I did this for Gifty and Apia. She'll be back tomorrow.